I love each and every one of you for coming. Thank you. It's so nice to be here at Harvard and meeting such interesting people that are the next leaders that take the baton and the beacon forward for our next generation. Thank you. I'm often asked, Paula, where do you find your endless font of inspiration? You do one-of-a-kinds for over 35 years. How is this possible? My answer is always the same. It's Mother Nature. She is infinite. In creating an artistic masterpiece, it's not enough just to have vision and talent, but one must also understand the materials and the techniques that one is working with. And if you think about it, there's over 5,000 years of jewelry making, and we need to bring that forward, not lose it. In jewelry, that means the study of gemology, metallurgy. It also is a study of mineralogy, geology, and geography. Why? Because it matters where our gemstones come from and how they form. From the very beginning of my jewelry career, in addition to the sciences, I was determined to apply my fine arts disciplines to the jewelry I created. The fine art disciplines were so important to me in any art form. And in jewelry, it became a deep passion for the ancient metal techniques, the labors of love that were these devoted. In 2003, the Gemological Association of Great Britain invited me to speak at their very prestigious GMA conference. And I literally called them up and I said, "Are you sure you want me?" I said, I'm an artist. They said, "Yes, Paula, we want you." I said, "Okay." And then it was very daunting because think about it. I was going to be with the greatest gemologists, the greatest geologists, the scientists, the researchers as an artist. So I decided, well, what am I going to do? And I came up with it because all of my career, when I shifted my discipline to jewelry making, I used the gemological clues to create my jewelry because I was fascinated by gemology, and I merged it into a design tool. So I spoke about that. And I've always found scientific concepts to be fascinating, and in the early 1980s, I began incorporating what I call these gemological clues, thinking that just maybe, oh maybe, in another century, they would actually ponder it and say, oh, that's what she was doing. But really it was to honor Mother Nature, which is what I do every day of my life. I made a commitment to offer only one-of-a-kind fine art jewels, and I have remained steadfast in my mission for over 34 years. I've never duplicated a piece of jewelry except for the Smithsonian when they asked me to help them with a charitable event. My pieces, including the findings, are hand fabricated, using those ancient metal techniques, many of which are so rapidly vanishing. And not on my watch. They won't. I feel that handmade items have a soul and a personality, a heart, that with machine-made items and all their precision could never duplicate. The human element, the human touch, the signature of the artisan. Leonardo da Vinci wrote, "Study the science of art and study the art of science. Realize that everything is connected to everything else." He was a genius, and he was right. I think it takes proficiency in both art and science to create a masterwork of any kind in any discipline, ever. The working title of my exhibition that we're going to see in a few moments was Nature, Art, Science, but they wanted to change the name to put the word jewel in so that the patrons would know what they were coming to see. And so it became The Art of the Jewel, the Crevoshay collection. In addition to art, I studied anthropology, especially symbolisms and archetypes, because all art is created in the context of the artist's culture. A sense of wonder and reverence of nature are common to all cultures and all art forms throughout all humanity. Among the themes of the show that we'll be viewing, you will see flora and fauna, both real and imagined. Another key theme is endangered and extinct species, because that is of grave concern in our time. It is a passion of mine to record as many of these miracles of nature that I can before I pass. In the Mineral Kingdom, I had 3 mine locations that I decided to isolate to illustrate the gemological clues that I've just been referring to. One was from Big Sky Country, the great state of Montana, and those amazing sapphires that all of us covet the world over. They have some of the highest RI, they have the dispersion beyond compare. Some of it's due to titanium, but they have a special place in the sapphire world. Also, I decided to take tourmalines from the great tourmaline state of Maine, as well as California, and to illustrate our vast mineral resources in our country and the great history behind these special mine locations. They're displayed with samples of beautiful crystals from the Museum of Natural History, as well as faceted gems and carved gems, telling the story of the light of the earth. And I tell the story of that light through my art. The moment of wonder in the face of nature is the inspiration of both art and science. They're never divorced. They're always together. In Leonardo da Vinci's time, the artist and the scientist were the same person. It's important to note that. We had a reason to go into separation of disciplines, but now we're finding our way back. We need it all to get through where we are in time on the planet. I've always declared myself, and to others, I am not a jeweler. I'm a painter. I paint with the light of the earth, and I sculpt with her noble metals. In Art of the Jewel, I hope to bring a greater sense of understanding of the beauty of our world and how it works and how interdependently it is on everything else. So now I'll take a few minutes to show you part of the Art of the Jewel and tell you a little bit about it as I do. So I love creatures of the deep. I love the ocean. I can't get enough. There's infinite inspiration under the sea. And there was a section called Gold in that exhibit that we wanted to pay homage to its indestructible and yet malleable nature. And the flying fish of Mandalay, each scale is individually crafted. This is a very difficult piece. This is Ula, a beautiful octopus made of red spinel cabochons and cabochon blue moonstones and cat's eye moonstone eyes from Burma. This tells you a little bit about my artistic mind. That is a gift. I can't explain it any other way. It's not about me at all. It's just the way I'm wired and I'm supposed to do this. So I see a piece of gelatinous opal. It's a water opal, so prismatic. It's a Mexican water opal. And I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, there's my man of war. And so there it is. And so this is how my mind works. I see a stone and it tells me, I'm like, oh my God, there it is. I got to do this now. And I want you to pay close attention to the 2 valves on the left. This is a symbiotic creature that needs oxygen fed through these valves, and those are cut by the inimitable, brilliant Glenn Lair, who has patented cuts. We'll get to my lapidary artist commitment of North America shortly, and that was a big part of the exhibit. But no person in their right mind would carve an Oregon opal and make those turns. There's even dimples and holes. You just can't do it unless you're a genius. And that is the genius work of Glenn Lair. So C.K. Lilia is another octopus, and I study these creatures because I find them fascinating. This is a 6-inch creature in nature. The blue ring octopus, when he fires up those blue rings, he's upset, you've threatened him, and he can shoot a shot of venom that kills 26 human beings.
Oh, wow.
But people don't understand it, and they think they're docile and beautiful and cute, but they are really deadly. I put this up for the gold content for the show because in LA, look at the texture and patina on the skin of kraken. It is so much like the skin. I take the skin of these creatures and I put them under high magnification. And we create the handmade tools in order to capture this. It makes the intangible and the static kinetic. It creates the life and the vitality that art can do. It takes us over the sun, the moon, the stars, and through the rainbow. So my creative process, here's another example of it. I fell in love with the plumage on this bird. This is an endangered species from South America. It's called a sunbittern. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I have to make a brooch. I'm going to translate this. So I do my drawing before I do my stone map, and that's on the right. And then I select the stones that are going to create the creature that will be preserved for humanity if nothing happens to it. So where would we be without gold and diamonds in our jewelry industry and the millennia? So there's a diamond part to the exhibit, and I'm staying with these grids to show you that I study a natural form. I translate it into a drawing first, and then I do my stone map, and the translation continues through to the mineral kingdom. Now, nothing delights me more as an artist than taking a floral or an animal and translating it into a mineral, which is golden stones. This is beauty. It's out there, and it's got natural, beautiful, radiant yellow diamonds. And I do a lot with the kissing of sunlight on petals of flowers through color, and I used about 5 shades of pink sapphire for this piece. Magie Noire, of course, had to be made of black diamonds, fuchsia sapphires, white and yellow diamonds. And this is Fleur d'Amour. It was based on the striped camellia species, and it's red spinel, light diamond, and then there are natural colored diamonds for the stamen and the ovary. The brown orange is natural color. All these are certs from GIA. Now, how can we have flowers without the pollinators, right? I love bees. I always have. I'm not afraid of them. I like them. And they like me. They never get angry, but I mean, I've never tried to knock a nest down or anything. But they're really there to do their work. They're really not interested in us. But so then we're coming into pearls now because the museum wanted me to focus on some pearl-themed jewels because they had a story that they wanted to tell from their collection. So this is a natural caught pearl, and there's one I didn't put in the slide that's from the Philippines, and it's a large white one that's at the show if you get out there. And it doesn't feed on krill, and that's why it's white. It's beautiful. It's from the Philippines. So I want you to pay close attention to the orient in the Tahitian pearl. That's the head of the dragonfly. Look at the orient in the pearl. You see about 7 colors if you're looking carefully. And then look how they're accentuated by the rainbow druzy obsidian. Yes. Same colors, same palette, different mineral, different light. Look at the accent stones. Yep. Amethyst, diamonds, and tsavorite. So you have a dance of light. You also have a symphony of color. That is Crevoshay. So I love nature. I love bugs. I have always been out in nature when I was a little girl. My palace was this big weeping willow tree, and I would just go in and have all my magic in there. So I get inspired, and this is Itsy Bitsy. Her body is actually a lemon opal from Idaho, quite rare. And when you turn her over, the black diamond pattern that's on her front, which is the faceted stones, when you turn it over, they're shining through her translucent light, and it is sublime. It just is. I love the flower kingdom. One of my first one-woman shows at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. I think I'm on number 7 now, and I have more to go. But that one was called Garden of Light. And I wanted to teach through jewelry and art the synthesis of the floral, the mineral, and the animal kingdoms and how interconnected they are. And I was telling Raquel that I contacted Carnegie and I said, I need your pollinators. I need all the bugs that pollinate my flowers for the exhibit. Where is etymology? And they got them for me. And they were more beautiful than my jewels. They were gorgeous. Now here again, I show you the process because a lot of people are interested in the creative process if they don't create themselves. But you see, my poppy flower has 5 different shades of faceted Mexican fire opal. Those petals are tangibly kissed with our eyes by the sunlight of the earth. And this makes it more tangibly real. It's also built in 5 layers. This flower is literally 3-dimensional. Just like with my Man of War and the opal, when I see abalone pearls, I automatically know what they are. And I've made 3 abalone pearl pieces. One, please go to New York on the 8th floor of the GIA's, that's their educational lab in the new building in New York City. They purchased my favorite lady slipper, and it's very large. It's called Midnight Seduction, and they struggled over which one they were going to buy for this project. It's in a wall vitrine that can never come out. And Terry Ottaway was the great curator that would have the choice, and she decided on Midnight Seduction because it had both mineral and it had pearls and mineral. It was combining all of that. It had coral, pearl, sapphires. It was why she chose it, which is interesting to know. So I played with passion flowers as a little girl too. They were my ballerinas, and I would just take them on the vine and they would dance. So I think I've always been this little artist. I'm born that way. And this is a lavender rose, is a lavender tourmaline, 11.69 carats. Lavender and tourmaline and many other stones is the most rare color on our planet, and lavender tourmaline is more rare than Paraiba.
Wow.
Not everyone knows that. So more of the sun-kissed petals in the columbine and in the hibiscus. Le Feu de Rêve is one of the favorite pieces of a lot of people who visit my museum shows. And this one has a story. I was ready to leave for Vegas one year, and I was drawing madly this crocus flower because I found this species to be so beautiful. I had not really seen this species before. And they were saying, it's time to go, it's time to go. And I said, I can't, I've got to finish, I've got to finish. Well, this one has a narrative. My vision was to create a crocus flower on a full moon night where break of day is just around the corner and the dew is forming. So you have moonstone dewdrops, and all the petals are made of different colors of sapphire. The stamens are Mexican fire opal and yellow sapphire. Now I talked about the mine locations and our country's vast resources. There's so many famous mines with a deep history here. And Dr. Keith Barron just reopened the Potentate mine, and he's moving earth that hasn't been moved even before Tiffany's time. And we are finding such rare sizes in Montana sapphire. This man is a genius. He discovered the 7 gold cities by having tutors in Spanish, and so he could talk the language and go find it in Portuguese and everything. He's great. And he's really making a difference today. I wanted to include this high magnification of this Montana sapphire crystal. Different colors and the palette in this crystalline structure. Look at that. There's a reason why they're coveted. Now I also pick up flora and fauna on the actual mine locations. I like to tell the story. I don't know if everyone's going to know it after I pass, but hopefully I'll write more books. But this is why I did a bitterroot. It's the state flower of Montana. It's only 3 days in lifespan. It comes every year about the 1st or 2nd week of June, and it lasts for 3 days, and it grows with no water and in total just dirt and dust. It's like amazing. Well, it took me 2 years. I needed 700 pink sapphires from Rock Creek. They are the rarest. It took me 2 years to find 400. And finally, I just was going to give up. And then I found a specimen that does have yellow Rock Creek is what I used, and then the pink, and I could finish the flower. It's very big. The bitterroot is this big usually, but I made mine that big. The stamens are tipped in enamel. So here we have the columbine flower made with the Yogo Gulch sapphires. These are coveted. They're heavenly blue. And if you see to the right of that slide, you see a purple. So the purples and the blues sometimes come in tandem. And look at that Yogo sapphire crystal for the word heavenly blue. It's just, I swoon. And this is a morning glory that's made with 3 different mine locations of sapphire. The Yogo and the blue petals, Vietnamese, as well as Sri Lanka, and the Sri Lankan moonstone in the center. I love gemology. Now I'm going to go on to Conchita. Conchita is named after my mother. She gave me life, she gave me hope, and she was incredible. And the Smithsonian asked if I would like to use these amazing sapphires from Montana and create an iconic jewel for their permanent collection. And I said, you bet. I would love that. And so I did. And Conchita's about this big, and she resides on permanent display in the Corundum cabinet, except Jeff Post let me borrow it for LA. So Conchita goes home on Mother's Day. I find that appropriate. And here this is telling the story of the alluvial deposits of sapphire, those crystal faces on the left. You know, when the water has formed and eroded almost and really polished these in nature, there was a mining expedition, and these blue pebbles were clogging the sleuth boxes of this gold mining expedition in Montana. That's all they wanted was gold. And they finally got so fed up, and they were putting them in cigar boxes. They sent them off to Tiffany, and then Tiffany showed them to George Frederick Kutz, and Kutz said, oh my God, they've hit sapphire, I'm on my way. He gets out there, he tells them they're sapphire, and then they know to look for these stones now. And they get to Rock Creek, and when they hit the plethora of color of Rock Creek sapphires, they said, oh my God, we've hit the rainbow over Montana. And that's why I've named this Rainbow over Montana. It's telling that story. We're in the state of Maine. These are all the greens that I could gather for one snowflake from all different mine locations in Maine. I've been invited to do beautiful pieces for their gem hall in the privately held museum there, and I have a ton of Maine tourmalines that I'm to work with over the years. This is a wavy thistle with Mount Marie pinks, and this is again a flower in Maine that grows very frequently around the mine locations when it's in bloom, and it has a colorless beryl from Maine, garnet from Maine, and the Havey mine greens in the lower petals, and a Mount Marie pink. So you can see I'm into the California tourmaline. I call this California Queen, though most of it is from the Stewart lithium mine. And these Princess of Stewart earrings are all from the Stewart lithium mine, as is this beautiful bicolor. And so any mineralogist or gemologist or people that really study will know what I'm doing, but I think I probably need to write it down. My last category is opals from all over the world. I am not only a Libra baby, so I love opals, it's my birthstone, but that's not why. I think all the opals look like either Monet or Pissarro or some kind of abstract expressionist painted all of them. They're so painterly, and I'm a painter, as you know. So I'm inspired by inanimate objects coming alive. That's my job as an artist. So I wanted my bracelet to look like those invertebrates, those flatworms come in every color in the rainbow. Our oceans are such a vast source of inspiration for any artist. You could never get enough of it. You could never finish. You could never finish. So if you see Queen Tie, I found the opal chunks first, then I did that drawing, and even in the drawing it looks like it's moving a bit, doesn't it? And it looks like it's kind of scooting across that page. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I love to do. Now we have the classics. This is a black opal from Lightning Ridge. But this one, and you'll be happy to know, Raquel, Gail Spann owns that. Anyway, what is so cool about this piece? The actual species It's a damselfly. Both her wings are of equal length, but the tips up above are truly translucent. So I had these prismatic water opals cut in this rectangle shape. You know how the cells grow to make that damselfly. And it's a boulder opal body, and I call her Indigo. I think she's very cool. I like her. So another opal, the Oregon opal, another genius carver, Lawrence Stoller, did the Oregon opal thoracic body for this butterfly, and I call it Dawn's Early Light. They're all named like children. When people ask me, don't you have a favorite? It's like asking me, what's your favorite child? So Madame Butterfly, a beautiful Cooper Petey, very large, it's a very large piece. And now we're getting into more about the lapidary arts. It's the final phase of this exhibition and my talk. So I start in honor of cabochons and faceted stone in Nam Lai. Nam Lai means moving water in Thai, and I've been very influenced by the Thai culture, as I have the Indian culture, the Burmese culture. I've just spent so many years in Southeast Asia. But this is really like moving, and there's one outside that's called Moon Dance that I'll take it out of the cabinet if we have time and show you how fluid these pieces are. This is a beautiful cut by Larry Woods. He's invented the medicine wheel cut and many other things, but he double faceted this incredible tanzanite so the fire dances from purple to blue all over this thing. Because the facet junctions are all pushing it all around. It's just absolutely gorgeous. This is a protege of the great Glenn Lair. Glenn, all of us have been collaborating for over 30 years. GIA did a big 5-page or 7-page article on us and gave us a cover of the quarterly when I did my one-woman show for them, meaning it was called Voices of the Earth. And it was all about my generation of genius carvers that are putting America on the map in Germany and China. They're taking the awards. They're representing our country with such fascinating ingenuity and new things that really haven't been done. So this young gentleman that carved this, and again, see how the chalcedony is not inanimate any longer. It's moving. It's moving. That fascinates me. Now this is the teacher, the master, Glenn Lair. Jingu and regalia. Jingu is an empress of Japan, very revered. She practiced necromancy and she defeated the Koreans. She was fierce, just like me. Yeah. But anyway, isn't she gorgeous? Isn't she beautiful? And I was given that large diamond, that yellow diamond, and she said, I want a Jingu, because she'd seen a Jingu. I want a Jingu. I said, okay. So this is what I made for her. Now she wants Jingu children, believe it or not. She's a very unusual lady. All right, Thomas McPhee, I cannot tell you what a brilliant reverse intaglio artist. He has, even his drawings look like We're talking masterful beyond words, but to carve it as well, think about the mastery. And all of these people are in my generation. There were 9 of them in Voices of the Earth. I don't have everyone pictured here. The final slide is my Garden of Delight box, and it has that blue columbine with Yogo sapphires and Rock Creek on top, because when Nikolai, the great Intarsia artist, he came to me and said, Paula, will you collaborate with me on a box? And I said, yes, but I like themes, Nikolai. I think we need to make a columbine box, and we should dedicate it to the garden, and then we'll let that be our theme to lead us, and I'll respond to you, and you'll respond to me. So I made the columbine first, so he would have that to go from. And he decided he wanted to use chatoyant malachite, very fine opal. He wanted to use the lapis for the blue, and all of these mineral specimens, even the rhodochrosite bullseyes, everything is top, fine, because that is Nikolai. And he understands the beauty and the language of the stone. Like Michelangelo looking at a block of marble. Nikolai is a genius. So I decided we needed a surprise in the box. So I went to work trying to create a mechanism that when you open the box, a male and female pair of golden-tailed sapphire hummingbirds pop out of it. And so they do. Also, the columbine flower doesn't fall off because it's magnetized. So the owner can take the jewel and wear it if they choose. So look at the far right. All of these insects that are drawn there appear on each of these columbine leaves at each side of the box. And they're all symbiotic with the columbine in nature. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh.